Here in Chicago for the 2023 SVG Regional Sports Production Summit, Christian Hernandez reporting for SVG. Glad to be joined by John Schippman. He is with NBCUniversal Chicago. John, how you doing, sir, and how's the event so far?
I'm doing well. Thank you very much. It's great to catch up with so many people you wish you saw more often, but this summit is what it's supposed to be, networking and learn a lot about the RSNs.
Right. Before we started recording, very busy time for you with the NHL draft with the Blackhawks. The upcoming NASCAR race, as of the recording today, is this weekend in the streets. So thank you for taking the time. I know you guys are always busy, but it's cool to kind of hear what you guys are doing. One of the godfathers, I would say, of the alternative broadcast, it's the BetCast that you guys did way back when. Take us back to when you first started. Why did you want to do it, the origins, the challenges, and how you kind of overcame the first one?
Yeah, so I think the origins is once we became partners with PointsBet, right? They're like, okay, we have the sponsorship. What can we do? Like, you can sponsor segments and things like that, but what can you do to make it bigger? And they said, let's look at some kind of alternative broadcast. So we said, let's do BetCast, and that's how it was born. And obviously, when you're starting from scratch, it's a blank canvas, and it's, okay, the little things like, you don't even think about like, all right, we need a control room, we need a studio. But then it's like, all right, how do we want it to look graphically? All right, we're going to do an L bar, great. But then we have to work with the NBC Sports Group to create the look. And then it's working with PointsBet, how are we going to implement their data and get it into our system? So there's a lot of things, and then it's talent, right? We have, thankfully, we have a betting analyst on staff at NBC, so we use him, but then we need analysts, and we don't necessarily need more betting analysts. We'd rather have our sports analysts. So we're, if Will Perdue and Kendall Gill are our Bulls pre- and post-game analysts. So if one of them's doing pre- and post-game for that night, we're going to have the other one on the BetCast. So they might not be a gambling expert, but they'll tell you why it's crazy if you think this guy's going to get more than 9 rebounds in a game. Then our host obviously needs to balance it. He needs to know the team, but he also needs to be able to talk, sports gambling. So there's a lot goes into it. And finally, the producer, we lucked out. We have a guy on our staff, Ryan McGuffey, who is I'll say avid gambler, right? He understands it and he likes to gamble. And having him in the production chair as a producer, but then also understanding the language of gambling was, it was almost as important as the talent on set. And then you put that all together and then, you do the one and you're like, that was pretty good. And then immediately it's like, all right, what can we do to improve? And that's how we sort of look at it after each BetCast.
In a previous interview I did earlier today, I spoke with Kevin Anderson, and he talked about how the talent and kind of the balances of, obviously they have other pre- and post-game shows that they have to do, but also when it comes to the alternative broadcast for either a Bulls game or whatnot, they have to also supply stuff for you guys. So that was a delicate dance and how they worked with you, and that was an interesting point. You mentioned the first one, you kind of took a breath. Second one, right, you got more used to it. But over time, as legalized sports betting kind of took over the country, now it's more of a commonplace thing. How much has it changed? What's new? What's different? And what lessons were learned since that first one?
Yeah, so I think you see the first one, and then even separate from the gambling just becoming more legal throughout the country, it's, what can we do to still keep it organic, but grow it? So we said, hey, we threw a camera in the control room, so now our gambling producer, Ryan McGuffey, now he's on camera during some of the BetCasts, and he chimes in. And okay, what else can we do to be bigger? Well, we have former NBA stars. So now what we're going to do, we're going to have them reach out to some of their former teammates. Hey, can you jump on a Zoom? And here's the thing, they don't have to talk gambling in the second quarter. They can talk about, Will Perdue can talk to Trent Tucker about, playing with Jordan. And people are going to be interested in that. But at the same time, we're still keeping an eye on all the stats. So from a content standpoint, that's how it's sort of growing. And I think with gambling becoming, more legal state by state, I just think that automatically, without us doing too much work, gets more interest into the BetCast.
Right, and the unique aspect is that obviously the sports bettors and the responsible gamblers are coming, right, and you're staying there, but you're also saying, hey, if you're a casual Bulls fan or a casual basketball fan, we got insider stories that you may not get on the linear broadcast because they may not have enough time, right, because they're doing X and O's, analysts of the game. So that's been a unique perspective. Last one before I let you go. Talk about how it's been resonating with fans all these years, right? Usually in this day and age, it's cool for a certain amount of time and then the next thing comes, but you guys have had sustained success. You talk about changing things, and that might be the recipe to why it's succeeded, but why do you think fans still keep coming back?
I think they're looking forward to seeing what we're doing next, right? And I think it is important to keep evolving, making sure you're not doing the exact same thing every time, because you want them to come back and be like, oh, this is different, this is new, and that's sort of where we're at. And we did basketball. We were supposed to do baseball a couple weeks ago, but it got postponed because of the smoke in New York. at Yankee Stadium. But, that's going to be a whole different experience because it's a whole different set of stats. And when we talked about doing baseball last year, that made me nervous because I'm like, I love game clocks, right? But now that baseball is timed, 2.5 hour, 3 hour game, that's good. I think it made us nervous to have to fill like 4.5 hours. Like if you have a Yankees-Red Sox game, that's what it is, right? But these are all new challenges. But I think, the viewers are tuning in, like you said, casual, stick around for 5 minutes. Next time, come for 10, right? The diehard fans on the main channel, we're not trying to shove gambling alternative broadcast down your throat, but at the same time, just check it out for a couple minutes because like you said earlier, like you get the stories. Yeah. And we find that viewers, no matter what you're watching, they want to know athletes' stories. Like that's why it's so important because they want to go behind the scenes, in the locker room, on the planes, and find out what is going on that normally fans wouldn't know about.
Right. Whether it's the stories or betting, there's something always for you. John, thanks for the time. Congrats on all the great success, and appreciate you coming here today.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
John Schippman here, the 2023 SVG Regional Sports Production Summit. For more interviews like this one with John in Chicago, please head over to our website at sportsvideo.org.